The city has always felt like a maze of concrete and echoes, but to me it's more than that. Since I was a kid, I learned to listen to what places say when no one else is listening. A metallic creak underground, a symbol carved into a forgotten wall, a reflection in dusty glass, tiny pulses of something hidden, waiting to be found. That morning, the air felt heavy with promise as Clara and Davy waited for me on the corner of Iron Street. Clara's analog camera hung around her neck while Davy's overstuffed backpack clanked with improvised tools. The fog hadn't lifted, and the city's sounds, horns, footsteps, distant trains, blended like a restless heartbeat. "Ready for another pointless chase?" Davy joked. "Every great discovery starts pointless," I said, checking my recorder. Our plan was simple. Explore an old drainage tunnel beneath the Central District where someone had found a hatch marked with a broken spiral. It matched the symbol I'd seen before on a metal shard from a demolished alley, and I didn't believe in coincidences. We found the entrance between two abandoned shops and descended through damp air and trembling flashlight beams. Clara moved ahead, capturing every crack like a cartographer of secrets, while Davy cursed at his flickering light. At the bottom, two paths split, one whispering water, the other silence, and we chose silence. Something shimmered between stones, a brass button engraved with the spiral. Clara leaned in, whispering, "Too much coincidence." "There's no such thing," I said, pocketing it as proof we were on the right path. Then footsteps echoed above, brief, human, and faded, leaving only pounding hearts. When we emerged, night had fallen, and the noise of traffic felt unreal after hours underground. Clara scrolled through photos and froze. In one frame, a tall shadow stood behind us, though none of us remembered anyone there. Back at her studio, we marked every place where the spiral appeared, the alley, the tunnel, the warehouse, forming a perfect triangle. At its center lay the old Canal District, a decaying maze that would be our next stop. The air there smelled of salt, oil, and rust, while gulls cried over the hum of engines. We wandered through narrow streets, pretending to be eccentric tourists, until Davy found a scrap dealer by the docks. Among bolts and chains lay a brass fragment with the spiral, "From the bottom of the canal," the man said. That was enough. We borrowed a boat and rowed into the dark water where Davy dove with a rope tied to his waist. After 10 seconds, he surfaced, gasping, holding a metal box dripping with algae. Under a flickering street lamp, we pried it open to find glass shards, fabric scraps, and a plaque reading "Property of the Sanitation Company, 1928," with the spiral beneath it. Footsteps echoed again. A man in a dark coat watched from the distance, turning away when Clara lifted her camera. "They're following us," Davy whispered, and I answered. "Or following the symbol." That night, reviewing footage, I noticed a metallic reflection behind Davy underwater, something larger buried below. Over the next days, we dug through archives and found the spiral belonged to a 1930s company that built an experimental underground transport network, sealed later for public safety. We traced it to an abandoned administrative building near the railway and arrived at dusk beneath a cold wind. Locked gates and rusted fences didn't stop Davy. With his homemade hook, he said, "Universal tool," and popped the lock. Inside, the air smelled of mold and time. Faded posters clung to cracked walls above overturned desks. We followed a flooded corridor to a heavy iron door marked with a perfect spiral. The handle was jammed until Davy's tools clicked and the door groaned open, exhaling ancient air. Inside stood a massive cylindrical vault covered in dust, broken glass, and strange inscriptions with the spiral glowing faintly on top. "This is older than 1930, Clara murmured. We tried to open it, failed, then froze at the sound of footsteps above. Slow, deliberate, drawing near. Our lights trembled, then 3 hard knocks echoed on the door. We held our breath as I dragged the vault under a tarp. The knocks stopped. Silence fell. When we looked again, the door stood slightly open and a folded paper lay on the floor. Some secrets should stay buried. We left without a word, the vault still sealed, the mystery deeper than before. After that, the city felt different, alive, watching. I began seeing the spiral everywhere: drains, windows, graffiti, fragments of forgotten signs. We decided to open the vault safely in my old photography studio. Davy built a rig to unlock it while Clara adjusted lights. The sound of moving metal filled the room like a heartbeat. When the lid opened, we froze before dozens of envelopes labeled with dates and coordinates, the latest from 1999. I opened it to find a black and white photo of 3 explorers smiling before a tunnel, holding the same box we'd found. On the back was written, "Time keeps what man forgets." Then I understood. This wasn't a hunt for objects, but a loop, generations chasing the same clues, leaving fragments for the next to find. Clara smiled through tears. "So we're part of the story now." "We always were," I said. We decided to return the vault, to seal it again and leave only a chalk spiral marking the spot. At dawn, we buried it under rubble in the old building, a new invisible point on the city's map. Morning light spread over rooftops as a distant train rumbled, and, for the first time, I felt peace. People hurried past, unaware of what slept beneath their feet. And maybe that was right. Some treasures aren't meant to be found, only felt. I slipped the recorder into my pocket, turned to my friends and smiled. "Ready for the next one?" They laughed, and we walked away into the crowd, leaving behind the mystery but carrying with us the heartbeat of the city. Alive, ancient, and full of secrets, whispering promises of new adventures waiting around every corner.